All right. Looks like we're back. Real Life Live. Well, we're looking at well, we're going to talk about Nolan Wells today, but we're looking at some things on our pad here. No, same stuff, but you know, says here story doesn't add up. We know that here. We know what we. You know, our story does not change regarding this case, y'all. So we're back to talk about that today. But we're talking about what we saw the other day. We saw an interview, and it was an interview that this young lady, her name, what's her name, Chantel Davis, she was doing with old sheriff. We talked about him, old Johnny Ledbetter, old Johnny. So she had an interview with old Johnny. Old Johnny, he said he offered up nothing to date, up to now. He said everything is still under investigation. You know how that is, Yeah. So, but yeah, he said he couldn't really say a lot. But the interview, went okay. Miss Davis, she, it wasn't nobody, throwing barbs or insults and all that. It was cool. It was a cool interview. And actually, it was an excellent interview by Miss Davis because she could just just kind of. Well, I don't know, she kind of got the feeling, hey, this guy's not really talking a lot, so Ledbetter, he's an old pro, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, we've been talking about him, old Johnny Ledbetter, but Miss Davis, she's back, and, she did something a couple of weeks ago, and she wanted to come back and get a little update, but, not much though, not much. You see what I'm saying? So, but she asked a couple of uncomfortable questions, and Ledbetter, he looked a little uncomfortable, but he wasn't, confrontational. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't. He was kind of relaxed, kind of like, but a little drawing back a little bit on a couple of things. I'm telling you something about Ledbetter, but we're going to talk about him. Now, we know Ledbetter didn't kill Nolan Wells. We know that. Excuse me. Sorry. And we know he didn't do it. But he knows who did. Okay? And we got our guy, as we have said here on Real Life Live. All this time, this case is, it happened on July the 4th. Okay. So, like we said, still under investigation. No updates about the medical reports, about, oh yeah, by the way, the throat is still, running on the run or whatever, the larynx, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that. Okay, so, now, so with the med reports, no updates, they were talking about, well, let's talk about the people. Who knows who? They were talking about maybe somebody saying, since Chantel Davis came back, she's from she's from New Orleans. Well, she came back on the scene of this, ocean, Springs, I think it is. Yeah, okay. Now, so she came back. A couple of weeks ago, she was there, came back, did an interview. Like we said, no info. Uh, but they're thinking that maybe she knows Christine because she said something about Christine like she knew her. You know, in the interview, she said mom or something. You know, go to the whole interview. You know. So they're saying maybe she knows Christine, but I'm saying this: hey, that's not the most important thing to us. We know, or we think we know. All right, that Ledbetter, he knows Dr. Hudson. You know, he knows him. Yeah, he really knows him. Okay? And he knows Ashley. You know. So, we think that old Johnny Ledbetter, he has a whole lot of real sensitive things that he knows about this case, but he's not letting it out. Okay? He knows what really happened, But he ain't telling shit. This old Ledbetter, he's old pro. You know, and remember he talked to Ashley. Let's remember that encounter at what was that? The Lady Bay. Remember that restaurant we were talking about down the road in the previous video. They was at that little, we said it was we didn't know, maybe they was talking about what happened to Nolan. We don't know. You see what I'm saying? Or not. We don't know. We don't know. We think maybe they talked about it. Okay? And we don't know how long they were there. Okay? But as we bring it back, though, now it's kind of tying in, right? You see where we're going? Okay, so, Ledbetter, they did make me. But, let me tell you, I'm saying this one more time. Ledbetter knows how to cover shit up. His daddy was a master. Remember we talked about his daddy. Okay, we on his ass, he's done all this shit that's been going on with Nolan Wells' case. All the covering up and all the this and that and blah blah blah. They did this shit before. You can tell that where they doing it now. A lot of unreported murders, hangings, all that. You see what I'm saying? Down there in Ocean Springs. This is a good old KKK town. Okay? We'd already said that. They all in it together. No bullshit mafia town. Weak on that, though. Well, so with the KKK town, we talk about, do they still attend private hangings and shit like that? No, we think yeah. Remember, we said private. Because it's still happening. Look at all this shit happening. In Mississippi or the hangings. So it's happening. Right. Okay, so hey, they still packing in the picnic lunches and all that shit. Putting on their best Sunday best to attend a hanging. This shit's still happening. Okay, big event, big joyous event. It's always been like that. One day there might be a movie about it. Who knows? But it's still in style in Mississippi. You see what I'm saying? We already know. We already talked about that. It's still in style. So, getting back to Ledbetter though, like we said, we think he knows Dr. Hudson very well, very well, very well. And he knows what kind of doctor he is. Okay? With the drugs, the opioids. He knows a lot of that. Maybe he's one of his patients. Maybe he gets his prescriptions. What he has to have. Maybe he's getting those from Dr. Hudson. Okay, we don't know what he's doing as far as pain. He might be taking painkillers. He might be taking opioids. I don't know nothing about Ledbetter. Like I say, I work from the bottom up, y'all. So they got to prove to me they're a good person. So I'm going to say, again, Ledbetter knows what happened, but he ain't telling. So we might never know because of the evidence and all that. You see what I'm saying? So, we were talking about he might have drugs, that he gets prescriptions from Dr. Hudson. We don't dig more, find that out totally. Excuse me. But so we say he's not gonna tell anything, So we're not gonna ever really know what happens to Nolan Wells about this case. We've been talking about that, So and because here's the thing, they hide and bury a lot of secrets very good, in Ocean Springs and in Totally in Mississippi. They're used to doing this kind of shit. For decades they've been doing it. So let's as we close it, we get ready, because the case it is still frustrating, y'all, because we know how it's going to end. But as we close this, we're going to keep our eyes out on Ledbetter. If we said we were going to do that, because we think he's kind of closer to everything that he's letting on, and he was acting on that interview like he was kind of me, I don't know nothing. Yeah, okay, but we know he knows the truth about what went down. You see what I'm saying? So we're gonna always keep an eye on him. But we always gonna be on our number one suspect, and that in the murder of Nolan Wells, our number one suspect, time and time again. It will never change on Real Life Live. Number one suspect in the murder of Nolan Wells is Dr. Benjamin Hudson. Okay? Real Life Live. We'll be back.